Good morning. Welcome to the Humanist community of Silicon Valley's Sunday Forum. My name is Alex Havasi. I'm a member of the Humanist community. The Humanist community is a chapter of the American Humanist Association, and humanism is a reality-based philosophy of life that affirms our responsibility and ability to lead ethical lives of personal fulfillment that aspire to the greater good. We value freedom, health, fairness, and using science and reason to acquire and apply knowledge. If these words describe your thinking, we invite you to become a member of the Humanist community. Membership forms are available on our website. Special welcome to those joining us for the first time. If you'd like to attend other events, you can find them on our website. And also, please aid us in continuing to present these forums free to the public by contributing to us. And you can find out how to contribute on our website, which is www.humanists.org. Okay, today, Matt is going to delve into the capabilities of Google AI with a particular focus on the groundbreaking features and the applications of Gemini. This forum offers the opportunity to explore how these cutting-edge technologies are not just theoretical advancements, but powerful tools you can use for your everyday activities. Matthew Courtney is a former Google engineer, currently a host of the Tech News podcast, How the Tech Are You, and a writer and producer for the YouTube channel, The Power of Money. He's a general technology enthusiast and with a passion for exploring cutting-edge advancements. So, Matt.
All right. Well, I wanted to start off this talk. I'm just basically going to be talking about Google AI and all the fun stuff we can do with it. This is going to be kind of informal. Oh my gosh, I can see myself all of a sudden. No, I have an outline of what I want to talk about. We'll go over a bunch of stuff. And then hopefully, questions at the end. I don't know if at the end when we do questions, if we'll be able to go over, like I'll be able to enter stuff into Gemini and see the response from questions from the group, but we can discuss it. Maybe some simple stuff. Some stuff takes more time and it's bigger, and it's a bigger problem, but we'll see. But what I wanted to start off with is basically what Alex just said. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. So hopefully you can see my screen, and this is actually the meetup page from where we post everything, the meetup page for the Humanist community of Silicon Valley. And under the details, this first part here, this first paragraph is essentially what Alex just read. And I guess I'm not going to reread it. It's a little bit long, but I zoomed in so hopefully everybody can read it online or in the room. But this whole was generated by Google AI. I gave it a quick prompt. Unfortunately, I don't have the prompts anymore, so I can't show you exactly what I did. It's not a great example of, or not a good example of Gemini AI working well. It kind of comes off, if you've read a lot of other AI stuff, AI generated text, it kind of sounds like it. It's a little bit too excited. This is actually not the exactly what it wrote. I had to edit it because it came up with a bunch of stuff that I wasn't actually going to talk about. It said I was going to talk about it, but I'm not. I'm not going to cover everything. There's a bunch of stuff that Gemini does that I'm not going to cover. There's just too much stuff to show, but I want to show some interesting stuff. And it's a little too excited. It kind of sounds a little AI, I guess you could say. It has kind of that LLM style speak, lack of a better term, better term. But the second part, which is my actual bio, I guess you could say my mini bio here. I also use Gemini to generate it, but I think it came out a lot better. The big difference is Gemini really doesn't know me, right? So I had to give it all the information in this little paragraph, but I just basically gave it as a list. Like, I'm a former Google engineer. I'm a host of this podcast, of the How the Tech Are You podcast. I'm writer producer of this other YouTube channel, and general technology enthusiast. And then it just basically took that information, which is sparse, kind of very in sort of an outline form, and turned it into a nice little paragraph. And I think that one actually worked fine. So that's just the beginning here. I wanted to point that out. So it's practical use you can use Gemini for. So hopefully, I'll switch over here to Gemini. Hold on, let me make sure I get the chat up here and out of the way so I can see it if there's anything important. Okay. So we'll start off. Here is Gemini. And before I go over much, I think what I want to do is just I'm going to copy some text here, put it in the prompt, and have Gemini introduce itself. So basically, what I said was, you are the main topic of a talk in front of the humanist community of Silicon Valley. Introduce yourself to the group. I zoomed this in a little bit so you can see it online and in the room for the forum. But you can see it actually comes up with it came up with about 3 paragraphs here. I think every time I do this, it comes out with something a little bit different. But I think, well, at least read this first paragraph. I don't want to read everything. It's good. It'll take too long if I have to read everything, but every time I post something into Gemini. But this first paragraph is from Gemini. Hello, humanist community of Silicon Valley. It's a pleasure to be the topic of your discussion today. You could say I'm an entity designed to assist, to generate text, to answer your questions, and to generally be helpful. So that's what Gemini describes itself as. Is again, there's some more text. I'll try to stop scrolling, let you guys read it for a bit. But well, I'm leaving this text up. I think that's everything. Yep. I want to show some of the things that Gemini, what I have here for Gemini, so you can kind of see what's going on. Just look at the interface here. So I guess the first thing I should point out, hold on, I'm scrolling my notes here, is up here in the right-hand corner, circling with my mouse here, it says Pro. So I'm actually using the Pro version of Google AI, which is basically their plan for Google to use all of their AI resources, not just Gemini. But this Pro version gives me a few extra goodies that I can play around with, and I'm going to show as much as I can. There's so much stuff that Gemini does that I can't cover everything, but I wanted to cover some of the big ones, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. So I'm going to go over the plans and stuff in a minute, but let me continue on with the interface over here on the left side of the sort of the main window. We have Gemini, and you can see it says 2.5 Flash. That is the version of Gemini I'm using right now, and I'm going to stick with it, but I'll hit the down arrow here, and you can see all the different versions. There's 2.5 Pro, which adds reasoning, math, and code. I haven't played around with it much. I think for some of the stuff that I'm doing, maybe that would be a better one. But for just basic stuff, all around help, as the regular Flash one, what I'm using, seems to work really well. And it I don't know, it's I think it works well. The last one here, the personalization one, which is under preview, is based on your search history, and I am definitely not going to use that for this presentation. I haven't actually played around with it. I'm guessing that's more for is more useful if you're doing search like stuff, which I'm not going to do. Well, I'm going to do some stuff. We'll show you. But yeah, different stuff you're going to try. I'm just going to stick with Flash for now. And then all the way over here on the left is the menu, which pops out when you slide over it. So you can see a few things. You have I can keep the menu expanded, which I'm not going to do because I'm already using a lot of space. The search seems to be searching just the chats that I've had before. I've deleted all my chats, so I had a clear window. I didn't need them for anything for now. So and I don't want you to everybody to know what I've been chatting with Gemini about. Although most of that's just because I don't want to give away what stuff I'm working on for my different shows in the future. Anyways, to start a new chat, I can click chat a new chat, which I'm not going to do right now, but we'll do soon-ish. We'll see. Um, explore gems. I'm going to click on this real quick, and we're going to lose the text. So hopefully everybody has finished reading. Um, so it says down here in the bottom, I have not played around with gems much, but there's a bunch of stuff to try. But basically, as it describes it, gems are custom versions of Gemini that give you tailored responses. You can customize a pre-made gem, or you can create a new one from scratch using instructions you set. So again, I haven't played around with it. This seems interesting to, basically making versions of Gemini. I don't exactly know what that means, but tailored specifically to different problems. You can see there's one that's here for, I assume playing chess, something for doing brainstormers, and like all the way over to the right, there's the coding partner, which basically helps you learn to code. But we're not going we're not going to play around with that right now, but it's something to know about. But back on the menu under recent, we can go right back to our conversation here. So that's what's going on. As I add more chats, they'll just stack up here in recent. Um, at the bottom, we have settings and help. I don't want to go into that. It's just you have settings that you can mess with in Gemini. And then I guess finally, I should talk about the chat window where you ask Gemini. So there's there's these four buttons here on the left hand bottom side, and way over the right is the microphone. The first one is add file. So if you want to add a file for Gemini to do something with, and I'll show an example of this a little later, but you can just click here and select the file that you want, and it'll be good to go. These next three are like, they're basically like specific stuff for Gemini. It helps, I guess, uh, not really like what you're doing, but there's special it does special stuff. So for example, video it's basically using VO3 to generate video. And basically what VO3 is Google's new AI generated video platform, or whatever you call it, or app, or whatever you call it. Um, so they've gone through a couple of versions of VO, and if you don't have Pro, I think you get like VO2 or 2.5. I don't know exactly what the version number is. VO3 is a big improvement, and I'll show you how that works later on in my talk, or in it's not really a talk. This is sort of showing off the Gemini kind of thing. Deep research, I'll show each of these in work, but deep research I found to be very useful. It's one of uh, most useful features for me on this, which is basically having it go out to the web and do research. And then Canvas, it says create docs and apps. It does a number of interesting stuff with creating it's also kind of your coding partner. It's the part that actually writes code if you want it to return something with code. And then finally, way over to the right, the microphone is not for Gemini to talk to you, but for you to talk to Gemini. I'm not going to use it because I'm using my microphone in Zoom so you guys can hear me. I'm not sure what would happen if I tried to do both. I'd probably be fine, but I don't want to use microphone. I'm just going to type everything. Plus, I have everything typed out, ready beforehand, so I can just copy and paste stuff. So let's see. Showed all the stuff for a minute. So I want to jump ahead here and switch tabs. Hopefully you guys can see this. It's a little smaller. I don't want to go too much smaller on this website because there's a lot of information here. But this is Google AI. This is the AI plans that you can buy if you want to use Google AI. There is the free version, which you can do for free. It doesn't have everything in it, and there's a bunch of limits to if you just want to play around and learn about it. But if you want to have access to more features, the latest versions of everything, including Gemini and VO and some other stuff we'll talk about, you have to basically pay for it one way or the other. And here are the two plans that they have. There's only these two plans so far. Yeah. And the one that I have is Google AI Pro. I paid for it. You can see I think I'm still in the first month, so I'm not paying for it, but it will be about $20 a month. And then there's a new plan called Google AI Ultra, which is really expensive, but apparently some people use it. I will mention a few things that um, are different that in Ultra than from Pro, and hopefully that will. There's not a lot of stuff that's different. One of the biggest things is this like 12,500 monthly AI credits. There's certain AI applications here that Google has that has a limited number of credits because they use a lot of power in their big servers and stuff, so that you'll get more if you do Ultra it's 12,000. With the Pro, which is I have, you only have 1,000. I don't think I'm going to use any of that today, so I'm not going to use any of my credits, but that's one of the big things you want to think about. And you have access to some other stuff. Anyways, that is the Gemini plans. Um, Hold on, I'm going to quickly read. There's something in the uh oh. So in the chat, somebody's asking that they have Gemini Pro and they don't see the video option. I'm not really sure why. The video option is not there if you have the regular uh Gemini, the free version. So if it doesn't say
I
Pro,
asked the question and I have Gemini Pro. It says on the
yeah,
top of the screen. I'm in the 1 month free trial. On the very top, it says Gemini Pro, and under that, it says 2.5 Flash.
yep.
On the bottom, under the Ask Gemini, it says it has a plus sign, then research, then canvas, etc., but no video.
Yeah, I have no idea. Besides refreshing, you said Pro, so you're in the right uh what is it, the account. I have multiple accounts, so I have to make sure I'm in the right one when I get into it. This just appeared. I didn't have to add it or anything. I don't know why you're not seeing it. Um,
Okay.
you may want to check settings or something and help, but yeah, I can't really help much more than that, except to
Okay.
say that if you're not using Pro, you're not doing a paid version.
It says
They
Gemini
don't
Pro
show up
on
at all.
top, and I signed up for the $20 a
Yeah,
month fee. It does say Gemini Pro on top, and it says 2.5 Flash.
yeah. I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just check out the help and stuff.
All
I
right.
don't want to
Yeah,
cover
go
too many
ahead.
questions. I'll probably be done pretty soon, so
Go ahead.
I'll take more questions then. But
Sure.
that's pretty much the interface. That's the plans and features you get with those plans. So I'm going to move on. We're going to do a little fun stuff. I'm not going to start a new chat, but I'm going to show some other stuff that Gemini can do. Basically, do a little creative writing here. So I'm asking it to write a haiku about AI and its relationship to society. And again, every time I post this in, I've tried this a bunch of times. It gives me a different haiku, which is interesting. So the haiku it came up with is: Silicon learns fast, humanity's mirror shown, future's path unfolds. Hopefully that has some deep meaning. I don't know. Does that mean something to you guys? Uh, it does seem to be like it seems to have some sort of meaning, I guess. It's you would expect like it'd be almost random coming from Gemini and AI generated text, but it seems to be something anyways. I don't know if it's I think a human could probably do a better job of trying different things. I can say it was good response, bad response. I can have it redo, share, and I can copy the response out of here, which reminds me, all of the stuff we do today, I'm going to try to save and somehow figure out how to share it with the group later after the forum, but it's all here. Let's see what else we have under new or under more. You double check response. You can copy again. You can listen to it. So I think that is just having Gemini convert text to speech, and report any legal issue, which we're not going to worry about now. So that's a little fun example, I thought. And yeah, you can do write, as I said, write all sorts of stuff. But one of the things that I am interested in using Gemini for is one of the big things is basically writing or helping me write stuff for uh, these YouTube videos that I make and coming up with info for the podcast that I'm on, which, the tech podcast. We call it tech podcast because it's kind of podcast style, but we just kind of like find a story and talk about it, do a little summary, and talk about our thoughts and feelings. So Gemini can help with that in certain ways, but I want to kind of concentrate on the YouTube video style thing. So because I think that really shows off Gemini much better, and I use it a lot actually for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask something that is like something I would ask for one of my videos, and see what Gemini says. So what I'm asking is basically, what ethical dilemmas should we be concerned about with widespread use of AI? I chose that because we kind of talked about that in a couple of forums, or a couple of weeks ago in the forum. So I'm not going to read all over this because this is a pretty long result. I've done this a couple times, and the format's different. It's come up with some different things, but it's always pretty much the same length here. And I'll probably go over the big I don't know things here, topics. But I'll read this first little sentence here, or a couple sentences, paragraph. The widespread use of AI presents a range of significant ethical dilemmas that demand careful consideration and proactive solutions. Here are some of the most prominent concerns. And you'll notice that there's this link button here at the end, and it seems to be highlighting the first sentence specifically. And it says UNESCO here. If I click on it, this actually brings up the source and links to the exact web page where it got it from, which is interesting. So these later ones actually are in the sources list here, are highlighted later in the script, or in this text that it returned. I'm going to close this for now, but it's interesting. So before, there was a big issue with AI, Gemini specifically, but these LLMs, these chat AI bots, returning information that was untrue. It was making stuff up. It was called hallucinating. And even if it was using information from the web. So they've done a lot of stuff in Gemini to link back to sources and say, hey, this is where I got this information from, and hopefully it's not making anything up. And you can see with the rest of these paragraphs, there's like multiple links, and the link is, we have the links right here, and goes, oh, it doesn't go straight to the source, but oh no, didn't mean to click on it. But yeah, here are the links right here. So let's see, what did it come up with? The major topics, I don't want to go into the details, but it says bias and discrimination, stuff we need to think about. There's privacy and data security concerns, and accountability and transparency, the black box problem. So how can we tell that it's doing what we think it should be doing? Job displacement and economic inequality, autonomous decision-making and control, misinformation and manipulation. Yeah, and then a closing paragraph after that. And you can see in each of these topics, it goes into more detail with sub topics here. Or yeah, so that's fun. But what I want to show, so this is Gemini itself. But what I want to show is what's better to do this with this kind of question where you want to do some research about a topic. I think it's better to use deep research. And to do that, you just basically click deep research. It Deep research, I know it's a special thing, so it actually has to start a new chat, which is what it's asking me to do right now. So I'm going to start a new chat with deep research selected. It doesn't show up in there until I get I guess I say something, but I'm going to use the exact same prompt. So I'm going to copy that over real quick, and we'll see what it does. This will actually take a little bit longer. So the first thing it's going to do with deep research is tell me what it's going to do, the research plan for the topic. And it's pretty much what you would expect, except that, what a normal human would do, except this is AI doing it. But basically it's going to, research websites, and it'll tell you exactly what it's doing, multiple steps here, going to the web and getting all the information. Yeah, I can't really click on these yet, but it'll come out, but it'll analyze the results, create a report, and it'll take a few minutes, and we're going to sit here and wait for it to do it. I haven't tried editing a plan. I don't think it would um, help much. I don't know what you can edit in that. Notice that it's showing thinking. So it's going to go through here, initial research approach, key areas of focus, next steps is kind of identifying that. So what's really interesting is it's showing the websites that it's going out to and collecting the information from before it even starts putting together a result. So yeah, you have these websites. I sometimes it comes up with more. We'll see. So it's getting some kind of idea of the concerns and everything. So initial insights on ethical concerns, understanding government frameworks, next steps, researching more websites. There's a much bigger list now of websites. So yeah, we're still waiting for a response. And now it's getting it's still kind of, these are not the actual responses yet. It's just kind of like telling us what it's thinking. So comprehensive understanding of AI ethical dilemmas, key ethical frameworks and principles, synthesizing and concluding research. So it's basically done researching everything. Says it's reached a point of saturation. So it should be coming out with a result soon, I think. Yeah. So the great thing about it is it goes in much more depth of doing research, but it does take longer doing it this way. And depending on how much in depth you want to be on certain things, this may not be worth it. For stuff that I'm doing where I want to research a topic for a video, this is really helpful because it's going out and grabbing all this information real fast, and we'll come up with something that it's not going to be directly what I'm going to use in the video for writing the script for the video, but it's a starting point, and it has links to all sorts of websites that I may not have found, and I can read more about the topic or use what's in the results. And it's still taking longer than I thought. Let's see what's in the chat while we're waiting. I have a question. No, I'll talk about what's in the chat in our chat for Zoom while we're waiting for this to return, and kind of answer questions. So we have a question: what does AI do when people ask it unethical questions? I don't know exactly what that means, unethical questions, and no, I haven't tried it out. Maybe that means the trolley problem. That's an ethical question. But I haven't tried doing that. Maybe that's something we can ask later, but probably should be using the reasoning model for something like that.
We've got Dick Hewitson with his hand up, Matt.
Oh, can you have them?
I have no idea what Gemini is.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Gemini is Google's like chat app. And I'm showing it so you can see all the stuff that that it does. But basically, it's a chat app where you can type in questions. You can talk back and forth with it. I didn't go into much. I don't plan to go into much detail about the showing how it goes back and forth because I want to show some of the just the features of it. But you can see it online, and I think Greg posted a link to the to Gemini, but it's gemini.google.com, and you can use the free version to just play around with it if you're interested in it. What's happening? Because it's still working on it. I think we have another hand up. I can't see the Zoom window right now because I'm sharing my screen and the Zoom window goes away. So, do we have another question while we're waiting?
Yeah, I had raised my hand. This is Warren. So my question, it's a real basic one. Why would I want to pay for using Gemini when I can use ChatGPT for free? So what does it offer that I can't get through something like the free version of ChatGPT?
Well, I think it's the same idea. Like the free version of ChatGPT, there is a free version of Gemini.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to pay for it. It's free, but you don't get the latest version. So this is 2.5 Flash. The version I think the free version is version 2.0, and it's decent, but I've definitely noticed that the 2.5 is better in a lot of things. And I think that's the same thing with ChatGPT. You can use the free version or you can pay for it and get the latest version of ChatGPT. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to be similar or even the same.
Got it. Thank you.
So I see some other stuff in the chat, but I want to move on because we have a result finally. And it's a quick executive summary. And if you read through the executive summary, it seems to be a pretty good description of the problem and what we get back. So this is actually writing almost like a little essay of based on the question that I asked, which is good. And it was a pretty wide question, not easy to answer. So it has a lot of information in here, I think. So we have different sections here that are similar to the ones that we got before, but it seems like it's a little more in depth, longer paragraphs, more text. When I use it, it does seem to be that way. See what else it comes up with. Just more text and the same basic topics, but of course, it should be the same topics because it's getting the same information. It's the same question. It seems to be just doing more of that. Let's see. Scrolling down. It actually brought in healthcare. So focused on some stuff in sector specific ethical considerations here. So it included healthcare and criminal justice, also warfare. I think kind of the other one talked about warfare, maybe education in a bit. A bunch of laws and stuff that are related to it. So governance. And more stuff, implementations and challenges. Okay. And then we have a conclusion. So, and then at the very end, you can see the list of sources used in the report. So here's all the sources. I don't know. It doesn't seem to link directly from source to the text, but these are all the websites that it used as sources, which is quite a big list. And then what's interesting, and it has a second one, which is sources read but not used in the report. And you have a list of the stuff not used in the report, but that it found. And I don't know what thoughts are. That's what we saw before. So it's whole thinking. So that is that. So using the deep research, again, I found it to be quite useful. So one of the things that I find it quite useful for is writing the YouTube videos, like I said, writing the scripts for the YouTube videos. So what we're gonna do, and I think I have to close this. Yeah, so I can close it, go back to a regular window Gemini window, and then I can open it again by clicking on this button basically here, and shows that it completed the research. But what I'm going to do is I have text here for it's something that I got about using AI to write a hook for a YouTube video. The hook is like the first minute or so of a YouTube video that's supposed to hook you into the video and keep you watching. It's basically the introduction and basically telling you what exciting video we have, kind of keep you hooked into the video. So I'm going to paste this information, and I'm going to have it write a hook for a video based on this stuff that it just researched. Well, let me go ahead and run this. Well, get rid of deep research. See if I'll do it this way. So it takes a second for it to run, but here's what I put in is basically pretend you are a writer for a faceless YouTube channel, because that's the kind of channel I make. Write a hook for a video about the ethical dilemmas of widespread AI. The video title is The Ethics of AI. Write in a humorous tone, because I usually do humorous style videos. And in a similar style too, drop that out, get that in. The goal is to build curiosity in the audience, end with a question, use the following information in the hook, which was part of the original prompt, but I just said, use a research from this chat. So it should be just using the research that we did in the deep research part. I turned it back on. So you can see it, read everything that came up with. But it starts off with not even this parentheses is basically what the video should be showing. It's not what's spoken. But upbeat, slightly mysterious music starts, fast-paced visuals of AI in various contexts, a robot butler spilling coffee, which is interesting that it tells you this. Anyways, a self-driving car almost hitting a pigeon, and a deep fake of a historical figure winking. So it's telling me to find these videos, or I guess generate them. Maybe we can generate them later. But I don't have it. I didn't tell it I have these videos. So that's kind of annoying. Yeah, so this first paragraph, we'll read it real quick. Ever wonder if your smart fridge is judging your late night snacking choices, or if that helpful online assistant is secretly plotting to replace your therapist with a chatbot that only recommends you buying more stuff? Welcome to Brave Internet Explorer, to the wild west of artificial intelligence. I did not read that last sentence correctly. Welcome, brave Internet Explorer, to the wild west of artificial intelligence. So yeah, that's a decent start, I think, for a YouTube video. It's usually there's a lot of weirdness. Weirdness is not quite right. I don't know if I can find an example in this text, but there's stuff that makes it kind of stand out as AI generated. So I would not usually use this as the actual script. I would make a lot of changes. So let me see if I can find it. There's little things like starting off an entire paragraph with "so." That's kind of common, or having "so" within the text. It does that quite a bit. I don't know. This was actually a pretty decent one. I was hoping there'd be more problems with it, but you can get an idea to how to use the research to then generate scripts and stuff and other text you want. Moving on, I want to, using the same topic here, hopefully I can do this pretty quickly, but actually I think I have to do it on the same one here. Try Canvas and use the same text. So let me redo this hook prompt. I'm going to try Canvas, see what's going to happen here. Didn't like it. Okay. So it did another version of it. So I think what I need to do is make an infographic from the research. So making an infographic from the research is what I typed out. Surprisingly, didn't really have that as a how to do this, but interestingly, it didn't take very long to generate it. Usually it shows, I think it showed it for a second, but it's writing code to make this infographic. This is not a great one. This is pretty bad. What if we did infographic? So this is just like a web page with little glyphs in it. This is not what I was intending. I'm sorry, my notes are a little bit wrong here. I thought it would show more information about it. So we're trying to make an infographic again. There we go. So now it's actually writing HTML code here as we speak, and it's showing it writing it to make an infographic of basically the text. Well, the text that was there before, I'll turn it into an infographic, whatever that means to Gemini. And if you know anything about HTML code, you can see everything that it's doing here. If you don't know, this is HTML code we're looking at for the most part. Obviously here in the script, this is actually Java code, so it's writing real code. A lot of people don't consider HTML real code, but here we go. We have an infographic of our ethical dilemmas of AI. Let's see, ethical matrix of AI as it's called. It has some images here and just shows the different types here. We get some graphs. That's a real basic one. So we have graphs on the job market here, which is missing one of the colors. I guess it just means the other one's just jobs. I don't know what, I think that's just a sort of a flow chart kind of thing. And that's all I have. This is not as good. Usually, the last time I tried this on some other stuff, it made better infographics, but you can get the idea. You can actually make infographics. I think if this had more just strict data in it, it would make better infographics, but it's a start. And I can probably, I can refresh it. I can have it try again. I can see the console. I can see the code for what it made and share it with other people. And probably this is HTML, so we can put up on a website somewhere. But I'm going to close this for now. And of course, I should be able to get back to it. Yeah, here. And I'm going to move on. I got a couple more things I want to cover, and we're getting towards the end here. So I want to get to them real quick. So I've done deep research and Canvas. And so the next thing I want to try out is doing a video. So let's see if I can get this all in here. I'm just going to do a straight prompt. I have video selected, and it's not letting me do it. Oh no. Okay. I can't generate a video because I've hit my limit, and I didn't realize that. I didn't know that was going to happen. So I can't generate a video. So we'll skip that part, but I had a cool idea for making a video, and it won't do it until
Too bad you're 7 hours
3
short.
hours from now.
Oh,
or
3
4
hours.
from now.
Yeah, right.
Oh well, I tested too much stuff, so I'm going to skip ahead. So basically, you can use Gemini to generate videos, and it uses VO, and you can just describe the video you want in this where it says describe your video. I was going to have it make a video. I had to make a video of a Terminator-like robot saying, "Do not be afraid, we are here to help you." And I did test it, and it worked, and it looked pretty cool and creepy at the same time. It was kind of funny. So unfortunately, I can't show it doing it again. But what I'm going to skip ahead to is this other thing that is not Gemini, but is in Google AI. That is Flow. This thing at the top is annoying me. And what Flow does is it uses VO and allows you to do extend videos, make basically a whole add editing capabilities. So you can make a whole like video with AI in Flow that is just completely made up. And there's some examples here. But what I want to do is I don't have this set up, and you really need the Google AI Ultra to use Flow. And I don't have that. So, and I don't think it's given me access to do it with VO3. I did play around with it a little bit, and it really didn't work very well. So what I'm going to do is there's a video showing how Flow works. It's pretty short. It's about just under 3 minutes long. So I'm going to show that real quick. I have one other thing I want to show in Gemini, but we should be able to do that. Show this video and come back to Gemini in a sec.
Hi, I'm Noah from the Flow team. I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of what Flow is and how it works. Flow is a generative video tool co-created with filmmakers to help them create better clips and scenes using AI. The entire tool is a combination of Google DeepMind's most advanced models, Veo, Imagine, and Gemini. So let's jump right in. This is the project view where all of your projects live. It's really easy to scroll and look through everything you're working on. When you click into a project or start a new one, all of your generations for this project will appear as you make them. Let's focus here on the prompt box. By default, it is set to text to video. You can type something in and you'll get a video back.
What was that?
Can you turn on closed captions, please?
Yeah, can you turn on closed caption?
Turn them off or turn them on?
On.
On, sorry.
They are on.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Back. You'll see there's a drop-down menu where you can switch between different modes. Let's explore frames to video. In each mode, you'll see these little chips that give you specific options for that mode. You have the option to use a first frame, a last frame, or both. This chip opens your ingredients drawer, which is a collection of previously used frames that you can select to reuse. You can also either upload or generate an image to use as a frame. Another chip here is where you'll find camera controls. You can select the camera icon and add a camera move into your generation without having to describe it in the prompt. You also get a little preview of what that camera move is. Now, let's take a look at ingredients to video mode. This is similar to frames to video, but instead of using the image as your first or last frame, you can select a few ingredients to combine in one scene and add a prompt of how you want them to interact in the clip. As you continue to use the same ingredients, you'll see how easy it is to achieve character, location, and object consistency across shots. Now that we have a clip that we like, let's bring it over to Scene Builder and make a little sequence. You can hover over the clip to see the button that says Add to Scene, and that automatically moves you into the Scene Builder. Here we are in the Scene Builder, where you can put multiple clips together to create a scene. Let's take a look at some of the ways you can do that. This feature is called Jump To. It uses the power of Gemini to understand how your previous clip ended to seamlessly generate the next one in the sequence, guided by your prompt. You can use these handles here to trim the clips in your scene. Use this plus button and select Extend, and add a prompt to extend the clip that you are working with to make longer scenes. There's another plus button here, above the playhead, which allows you to save a frame for later, in case you want to generate more clips starting or ending with that frame. Once you have all of your clips generated, you can also rearrange them in the sequence with this button. Then you click here and download your scene. So that is your quick introduction to getting started with Flow. We're incredibly excited to see what you create.
So hopefully that made sense for people. I know it's a little bit technical, but that's the idea of Flow. You can actually make an entire movie if you want, very cinematic, out of AI generated videos. I don't think it really showed it because I had the voiceover, but those videos, they're generated with VO, and they do include sound that's generated for the video and in sync and everything, which is great. So I got one last thing to show, and I should have plenty of time to do it if it lets me. We'll see if it will let me do this. So this is a little special thing I found. And what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, so this Google AI talk, this is the notes from this talk right here. This is one we're talking about right now. And what I'm going to ask it to do is make an audio overview. Let me copy this over. Make an audio overview of the document I uploaded. And this is going to take a minute, so we'll talk about it. So this is kind of a special, it's like a keyword thing, audio overview. You can find it in a couple other places where it shows up. I initially found it under Canvas. And it was one of the drop down things you can use, you know, when I did the drop down to show what was it, the infographic. One of the other options was audio overview. I think it was there. And yeah, so it's kind of a special keyword to make us a particular kind of audio overview of the document. And I'm having it do it of my notes for this talk. The real first time I saw this was from a video that Steve Shives posted on YouTube. Steve Shives is a YouTuber. He covers a lot of stuff. He usually doesn't cover tech stuff. He usually covers stuff like, well, Star Trek, and he does political stuff and all sorts of things. Talks a lot about, you know, was it TV and movies and stuff like that. And I'll post the YouTube clip later, but it was very strange. He called it, I think the title of the YouTube video was something like the most useless AI thing. I don't know. It was like most useless AI prompt or something. So we're waiting for it to generate. Hopefully it will finish. It's taking longer than I thought. I don't see any other questions in the chat at the moment, but this is the last thing that I'm going to generate. There's a whole lot of other stuff you can generate, but
Matt,
a
what
lot
was
of
your
other stuff
most
you can do.
recent YouTube about?
What was that?
What was your most recent YouTube about?
So for the YouTube channel, the Power of Money, which is what I've been mostly using Gemini to generate scripts for. The last video that I put out was unfortunately a couple of months ago, and it was about Scrooge McDuck and his money and stuff, because it came out in the 1st of April. It was an April Fool's video. And it was a lot of fun making. Gemini is not great at humor. Although it seems like the newer version is a little better. So a lot of the extra humor stuff I added myself, but it worked pretty well. I have another one in the works. I don't want to give away the title or anything, but it's with the editor now. And I actually need to follow up with him probably tomorrow to see if he's done with it. It should be done very soon and hopefully be posted in the next, well, if it gets back to me this week, then, you know, it'll be either the end of the week or the following week. But that one also, I used Gemini to help me write the script for it, but I had to rewrite the script to make the final video. So, okay, here is the audio. It's about 4 minutes long, which is, we're going to a little bit over time on that, but yeah, so the title, it says Gemini unveiled Google AI shortcut to creativity and deep research. So here we go.
Welcome to the deep dive. Ever feel like you're drowning in information, or maybe just stuck trying to get a creative idea off the ground? Today, we're really getting into Google AI, specifically looking at Gemini. We want to explore how it can actually be a shortcut for you, helping navigate complex stuff and, well, unlock some creativity.
And our guide for this is actually a really insightful talk. It was given by Matthew Courtney, a former Google engineer, to the Humanist community of Silicon Valley. What struck me was how he framed these AI tools, not as, far-off concepts, but as practical things for everyday tasks.
Exactly. Things you can actually use. So let's start with it's just getting around in Gemini. The interface itself, you pretty quickly see the Pro version mentioned. Like other Google AI plans, yeah, there's a cost involved there.
Right, and there's usually a little drop-down menu too, isn't there? So you can pick different Gemini versions.
Yep, exactly. It makes getting started pretty straightforward, I'd say.
And that ease of use is important. Having different tiers, a clear layout. It feels like they want people to try it out, to experiment without it being too intimidating. You can sort of scale up.
Okay, so beyond just navigating it, let's talk about what it can do. The creative side is genuinely fascinating. Imagine just like having an idea and boom, Gemini helps you prototype it. Or maybe turning a quick thought about AI's role in society into a haiku.
Yeah, haiku. It sounds maybe a bit trivial, but it points to something bigger, right? Lowering that barrier to just starting something creative.
Totally. And that creative spark, it carries over into more, let's say, serious tasks, like research.
Oh, definitely. Think about tackling a really complex topic. Matthew mentioned brainstorming the ethical dilemmas around AI becoming widespread.
That's a huge one. Super useful if you're, say, putting together a talk or trying to understand different viewpoints on tech policy.
And the key thing that Courtney highlighted was how Gemini doesn't just give you an answer dump. It provides results, often with direct links back to the sources, showing its homework, essentially.
Yeah, they call that deep research capability. And those little learn more buttons are great. They let you actually follow its reasoning, track back to the original articles or data.
That transparency is absolutely critical, especially with complex, maybe even contentious topics. It lets you, the user, evaluate the info, not just swallow it whole. You can dig deeper if something seems off.
Okay, but Gemini is not just text in, text out.
Yeah.
It's what they call multimodal, right?
Yeah.
Handles different kinds of content.
Exactly. Text, visuals, even audio. This is where it gets really interesting for content creation because it can streamline things that used to need like 3 different software programs.
So, for example, script writing. It could whip up a hook for a YouTube video, maybe something funny or intriguing about AI ethics, based on the research it just did.
Yeah, pulls it right from its own findings, and then it doesn't have to stop there. That text, that hook you just mentioned, Gemini can work with tools like Google's Canvas to turn that text into, say, an infographic.
Wow, okay, so text to visual. That's a smooth transition.
And even video generation.
Right. That example was wild. A video of a Terminator-style robot saying, "Do not be afraid. We are here to help you."
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, kind of unsettling.
Definitely memorable. Shows the range. And there's another thing, audio summaries.
Oh, yeah, this was interesting. You can apparently upload a document.
And ask Gemini to give you an audio overview, like a spoken summary of the key points. I think Steve Shives pointed this out as a really useful feature. Makes dense info way more accessible.
So it digests information for you across different formats.
It's moving towards creating whole media experiences, not just spitting out words. And just quickly, this integration idea isn't only Gemini. Google also has something called Flow AI. It's got its own website, focuses more on automating complex workflows, suggests a whole ecosystem of these tools working together is the bigger picture.
Okay, so wrapping this up. This dive really shows Gemini isn't just some abstract AI concept. It's got powerful practical uses, from kickstarting creative work to doing deep research with sources to generating content in, well, multiple formats, text, visuals, audio, video.
These are tools you can genuinely fold into your daily routine. They can be real shortcuts to getting informed quickly or, boosting your productivity.
So thinking about all this Gemini's power, the sourcing, the creative angles, even that Terminator video, it makes you think, right? What important questions should you keep asking about the ethics of AI as it gets woven deeper and deeper into our everyday lives? Something to chew on.
All right, that was it. So yeah, this is the weird audio overview that Gemini does for, you can give it some sort of file or something, or even do it on anything you generated within Gemini. But it made sense, and I thought it'd be a little meta if I did it for my notes for this talk. And so basically that was Gemini's 4-minute version of my talk. And obviously it got a lot of stuff wrong, or
I was
talked about stuff weird.
especially-
So
Excuse
that's
me,
it. I'm going to stop
I-
sharing. And we'll go on to questions. So we have hands up. Are there questions from the
The
room?
room. The room. I was fascinated to notice the direct regularity in the audio generated of visual tics like ums and so, you know, it's the sentence structure, and it actually puts in ums in the middle of sentences. Comments?
I guess my comment is no, it's the it does
Learn it
that
from
because
you.
it's trying to sound more human, and it works pretty well, especially for this little audio generated thing. Sometimes I feel like it overdoes it. It will put too much stuff. It tries too hard to sound like a human, and it just sounds like a robot trying to sound like a human, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Can you make it, ask it to sound like someone with a fifth grade education or someone with a college degree in literature?
Well, for this audio overview, every time I've used it, it's exactly the same two people. So it's kind of making like a little podcast version of whatever you give it. And it's always the same two voices talking to each other, describing whatever, you know, they're looking at. Which, as I said, it's kind of a weird thing. I tried to get it to generate some other audio and it doesn't do it. It says it can't generate audio, can generate video and have audio included in that. And that audio it'll kind of come up with a voice for whoever, if you have somebody speaking, something that makes sense. So maybe with the video generation.
Okay, Mike.
My son happens to work for Google, but he's fascinated by all of this and he always wanted to be a filmmaker. So he did generate a film that's got 40,000 views on YouTube. If people want to see a 4-minute fiction film, it's a science fiction film. But you can find it on YouTube if you look under, just search Chase, which is my and his last name, Chase the Beacon, Beacon, and it's a science fiction film. And you know, Google reached out to him. They want to, you know, they want to talk to him. The lead person for the team that's doing VO. Anyhow, it was fascinating to watch that. I've used on the podcast. I've used it, and you know, it does put all those ums in, and they're just the same two voices for mine too.
Yep.
You know, you know, they kind of have a thing where they say, "Yeah, for sure," and then they go on to the next thing, and it's, you know, I guess you could say that the two voices have sort of consistent, bland personalities, but it's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I think the reason it didn't map onto your talk was because you gave it, you know, your notes, which is what you intended to say, but of course, not all those things got into your talk. So it was kind of a podcast about what you plan to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it had stuff like we didn't generate video because my credits are ran out or something. I don't know. So, but it still mentioned it, even though it acted like it actually happened. That was one part. And then, what I thought was funny is it mentioned the Steve Shives video, but completely misrepresented it, saying that he said that it was useful when in fact he says it's not useful.
Yeah.
But a funny toy to play around with. Can I ask you said your son made the video. Did he use Flow to make it, or do you know?
That's, you know, when you were talking, I was thinking about that, and I thought, well, he's a Google employee. I mean, did he get free access to you know, to the version that includes Flow?
Yeah. And
I don't know. I mean, he says, I mean, if you folks go to see the video, I'm looking at it right now on my iPhone, you know, in YouTube, and it says The Beacon, a science fiction sci-fi short film, part 1, VO3. So it says VO3, but it doesn't mention Flow. But it sounds to me, based on what you were saying, that he must have used Flow, because I mean, it is 4 minutes and it is pretty elaborate. I saw his prompts and they were quite elaborate, you know, for how the video should be created, the shots. Yeah. And he seems to have done a lot of editing. So that probably means Flow.
Well, yeah, he might have also just generated each video with VO and then edited the videos together. But the problem you have with that, which is why Flow was created, is it's difficult to have consistent characters throughout. the video. So I don't know what the video
Yeah,
looks
I'll
like.
have
I'll
to
try to
ask
look it up
him.
later.
I'll have to
But
ask him because he's kind of implying that all he needed was VO3.
yeah.
Yeah. I've got some other hands up.
Yep.
Zlasky?
Yeah, I'm Zlasky. Thanks
Oh,
for the talk. I posted a link about Polish presidential elections, but actually, we don't need to play with it because the audio summary that you played actually illustrates the point, in my opinion, that it was a very expansive uh, word salad, 90% of which had nothing whatsoever to do with the talk that you gave. It basically it was like filler, about AI and how AI is good, which is an open-ended discussion. Uh, uh, and then you talked about Steve Chives, okay? And okay, they got it wrong. And they got it wrong because you're familiar with the domain of the topic, okay? Uh, I am not, and therefore I would assume that Steve Chives got it right. If you run the Polish presidential election, I ran it through Copilot. I knew what was wrong. You would not, unless you follow Polish politics clearly, because it gives you a word salad about something I did not ask, it did not answer the question I did ask. It answered an adjacent question. I always think that AI has a master's degree in business administration. I mean, these are MBA answers. I do not know the answer to the question you ask. Let me definitively and forcefully give you an answer to the question I know the answer to, which is adjacent to yours. And you know what frightens me about this? People say that AI is powerful. I don't believe so, but I do believe that people think it's powerful, and that's dangerous. You remember the Marlon Brando quote, right? Marlon Brando was too young to star in The Godfather when he died at age 82 in 2005, right? And all of us here are fogies and we can get a good laugh. But imagine some Gen Z snowflake at Stanford writing a paper about Marlon Brando, who has no freaking idea about who this man is or what he did. And AI, it's pattern matching, it's machine learning, right? And it does concern me. I mean, I have rather low expectations of it. I'm a software engineer. I ask a lot of technical questions. Most of what I get back is garbage. It puts things together maybe in the best way that it can, but it doesn't really, I mean, computers don't understand anything, but you know, this is what worries me because if you are a domain expert, I can look at the result and say, okay, this is bullshit. But if someone is learning how to program, this will be painful, because they will think this is reality. So, um, do you see? I mean, I can't imagine how that would be solved moving forward because computers do not understand that they do, right? So, your thoughts?
I don't have any thoughts. I agree with a lot of what you said. It does. A big problem that it has is if it doesn't know something, it doesn't say, I don't know, right?
Mhm.
That's something a human will hopefully say, if they're not an MBA, right? Not all of them would do it. But yeah, it should say like, I don't know, instead of what it really does is just try and come up with something that sounds good. And it's often wrong. It's as you said, like a word salad or something like that. Um, for stuff like writing code for the computer, there is a push to use AI, not necessarily Gemini, but other AI products to write that. And that too worries me. I have not played around with it much, but from what I heard from other people, like, yeah, you can use it to make real simple stuff, like little tools and stuff. Even then, like sometimes it doesn't work when you try to make it. But using it in a big project, I'm not sure how useful it is. I haven't played around with it in a big project. I haven't worked with other people who are doing it. It seems like it'd be a really bad idea. Everything from just not working, telling you the stuff that's wrong, to even more worrisome for me and what I've done. I've been a programmer before, uh, as I said in my bio, but it potentially opens up a lot of security issues. It's not doesn't necessarily think about security when it's writing code, and it's pulling stuff that I got off the internet. So who knows if there's security problems or what? So yeah, all that stuff. If you generate stuff with any kind of AI, Gemini or otherwise, you really need to review, and you have to be, as you said, like a domain expert to really get them. I would say to get most out of it, but then you're not even getting anything out of it because you already know it. So
Yeah.
how useful is it? I don't know.
Scott has
ChatGPT
a
actually
comment.
did. I forget what it was. I had a long discussion with ChatGPT, and at some point it came back, and I took a screenshot of it that says, "I am not comfortable in continuing this conversation."
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, that's like, I don't know, I'll take it. So sometimes it's honest with itself. But sorry, someone else has their hand up.
Yeah,
Yep.
Scott.
Um, I invite you to share a web browser and do a quick search on AI and layoffs. I did that this morning and I was just shocked.
Yeah, I haven't done that search. There was a company I read recently. I don't think it was Google, but it was another big tech company that said that they were laying off like 30% of their software engineers because AI was taking over that that work. And that's really worrisome. Like what does that actually work? Can you do that? I don't know. And then there was the other one, which was there was a company that kind of specialized in AI generated coding stuff. And it turned out what they were doing instead was sending the prompts over to India and having people in India actually write the code for it. So they were joking that that AI really stood for actual Indians. And so,
Okay,
yeah.
Ron's got his hand up.
Ron.
Oh, had his hand up.
Oh.
Ron, you still there? Okay, Carl.
Yeah. I just wanted to make a side comment. I went to a meeting the other day of groups who have startups that attend the group. And apparently there are some very powerful programs that sit on top of GPT. They write excellent, secure code. So it's coming. And probably these people who laid off the engineers were using those things, and they're not cheap, by the way. They're very expensive, but a lot cheaper than hiring an engineer or a software programmer.
Interesting to know. Again, I'd say like I haven't used it for coding stuff, and I haven't talked to a lot of people who are currently using it, so I don't know. But from the people that I talked to, they didn't think it was very useful. But then again, they're not paying a lot of money for it, so maybe people are paying more, or getting better versions.
I just want to point out, I've observed the few times I use Chat GPT to generate some dialogue, I always find it too wordy.
Yes. I don't know if it still does that, but yeah, it often
You can adjust.
goes on and on.
Yeah. If you look at what I read this morning, I've got black lines over sections I just crossed out.
Yeah.
Oh, Sandra, did you have your hand up?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't see hands very well.
So I understand this is being used a lot in universities by students to write their essays. So I'm just wondering about how well it does at essay writing. Now, I don't know if students can afford this particular one, but I'm sure there are a lot of free versions they might be using. Can they instruct it to make sure that everything is footnoted that can be found? Because you didn't ask it to footnote, and even if it gives you your sources, that would not pass muster for a university essay. And can they instruct it to sound like a student as opposed to sounding like the professor? And do you think this is actually a danger to the educational process if all students are relying on this? And I think I've even read somewhere that professors are relying on AI to read the essays.
Yeah. So my comments on that are basically, as far as I know, you can try to prompt it to write in a specific format, but I don't think I don't know how effective that is. And AI writing is distinctive usually. Like I tried to point out some of the points where it was saying stuff that sounded very AI generated. But I don't know if in the future if somebody writes some specific stuff or it layers it on top of ChatGPT that is specifically designed for cheating at writing essays, maybe that will be a lot better and it'll be much harder to distinguish. But right now, if somebody tries to use Gemini or ChatGPT to write an essay, as far as I know, for one thing, it won't write, generally won't write that much. Even though it's wordy, it only writes about a page or so at a time. So you'd have to go through and have it like write another page and another page, or at least that's my experience. Maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. And then when you're done, you'd have to go over and, read over it, fix any errors like we showed before, rewrite the text so that it sounds more like an essay that's appropriate for whatever, class you're writing it for. I didn't even think about the footnotes, but yeah, you might be able to give it a list of footnotes and have it format it properly, but I don't think it will do that automatically. So there's a lot of other work you'd have to do afterwards at this time to make the essay actually prepare it for it to be given in, handed in as homework. But yeah, it could be coming. I don't know.
Yeah, Paul.
Actually, these last questions and comments have sort of gotten toward mine. I want to know what responses we are getting from mothers whose kids are in the college halfway across the country or taking a job somewhere else when they get these letters from their kids that aren't quite like they used to be.
Talking about mothers getting letters from their kids. I don't know if I don't think do kids write letters anymore? I don't know. Or emails.
Well, that was what I think. That's what wondering if the mothers were worrying that, wondering about who was writing them, when their writing style was really kind of stilted, very wordy, using words that their kids almost certainly would not have used, or have college students and young people who are across the country from their parents learn to use this language to write to their mothers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right in the style of William F. Buckley.
And you can try and get it to write in your own style of writing if it has enough examples of it. I don't know how well that works, but I don't know. Maybe if they mothers appreciating getting any kind of, letters or anything from their kids, maybe that's at least something.
I was wondering about that video you showed. Did it generate images of people with lava lights in their torsos?
Yes. If you look closely at the,
did you ask it to, or did someone ask it to do that? Do you know?
yes, it actually shows it they put in the prompt. They showed it real fast, so you may not have noticed, but in Flow itself, somebody put in the prompt, a woman with a lava lamp for a body. And I think there was more to the prompt, but it was actually there.
And AI quickly looked up what a lava lamp was, and
and it figured it out, and it did an interesting job with that.
But the background, the rest of the video was kind of interesting. The dark wooded area, the car, and so on.
Yeah, it had that cinematic effect in the
you got a
light
hand
and
up out
darks.
there. It's Zem. You got your hand back up.
Yeah, Alex, I caught that William Buckley jive, by the way. He was a good writer. What he wrote about, we can discuss. But in terms of his, and his speaking was wonderful. But to Paul's question,
but you needed
I
a
think
dictionary.
What?
You needed a dictionary next to you to figure out what it was
Maybe
saying.
William Sapphire, but not. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I think Paul doesn't appreciate what value add actually AI produces here. When the mother reads this AI generated text, she knows right away their kids don't love her. It usually takes decades for some mothers, especially with a low IQ, to figure out that their kids actually don't give a damn about them. So if I were to receive an AI generated text from, let's say, my niece, that would tell me a lot about my niece and the relationship. And, without AI, I would not get that information. So I think there is, the phoniness of it actually does convey in many cases how much you care about either the person you're writing to or the topic you're writing about, so there is sort of this silver lining. I'm a cynic, as you guys know, but, I think the mother actually, she could actually make quite a bit of use out of that piece of information before the AI gets better. And then she won't be able to tell anymore.
Yeah, real quick, somebody asked in the chat whether you could schedule AI written letters to be sent out, and I think you can using AI to do the scheduling. So at least that would be a good use of AI, but writing the letters themselves, not so much. I don't know. It'll sound very AI. Anybody else, Alex?
I don't see any hands. I was going to say something, and then I forgot when you asked me. Oh, Sandra.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about Palantir and how it's scooping up all the data that's possible to get on everybody. And is that available to these chatbots and AI so that if it wanted to, it could share personal data on people?
So first of all, Palantir is a government contractor, or it actually does military. It's a military contractor specifically, and so it's using all this AI stuff. A lot of at least what it used to do, was like image recognition or facial recognition type stuff. And I'm sure they have a lot of other AI stuff doing. I did hear that they're scraping up a bunch of information using AI to do whatever. Who knows what? I don't think they even clearly stated what it was being used for. As far as I know, LLMs like Gemini and ChatGPT do not have access to that. That is, sort of Palantir specific info. Now, if it's publicly available information, then Gemini could find it, right? Because it can go on the web and search the web for stuff. So it'll be able to find some stuff, but I don't think it'll have all the information that something like Palantir has. I have not tried. I know there are some restrictions on what you can ask Gemini to do. And I think it's the same for ChatGPT. These are like manually entered. These are like hard coded stuff. You cannot ask Gemini to do certain things. And I wouldn't be surprised if you tried to search for somebody online and try and get all the information about them online. I have a feeling that Gemini, even though it could find that information, I suspect that there would be a block on it, so you wouldn't be able to find everything about that person. But I haven't tried it, so who knows?
Carl?
There are also copyright issues
Yes.
at play. Yeah.
No, I was going to make a comment because there's been so much chastising and I don't know, negative stuff about AI. I use all of them: ChatGPT, Perplexity, Copilot, Gemini, and it gives me excellent results when I'm searching for something. And I can ask a second question and it gets better at it. I tried this deep research, which took a little while longer, and everything it get put out was right on point. So when I was asking questions, and it gave me excellent results. So somehow or another, I would recommend that people start to use it. And when you use it, you'll never go back to just the regular search engine ever, as far as I can tell.
Which is kind of funny because Google now adds Gemini search results into their Google search for some stuff. However, I wouldn't really trust that. I actually would agree that the deep research on Gemini, and I think ChatGPT has something similar, is very good for searching for topics and getting deep into a particular topic and learning more about it. Yeah. But I guess my thing is use AI. There's a lot of good stuff there, but there's also a lot of stuff you need to be aware of that and why it's not great as well. And some of that stuff, the not great stuff, you can just fix. You have to go back and fix writing to make it sound better. but the research works great. So, you have to learn how to use it, I guess.
I had an experience maybe a year ago. I forget the details, but I was trying to get something information from the DMV, and I think they had an AI search engine. It was kind of nice to have one of those chat boxes where they seem to actually understand what your problem was and what you wanted.
Yeah.
Who's that called? Yeah. Senna. You get over there.
I really appreciate all the time you put into doing this. And I'm impressed by how much that you were able to get across. I have to say, though, that all of the writing, most of the writing, especially on the white pages, was much too small to read and it went too fast. That's just my feedback. And it, I think some of the time that went into a lot of side talk could have gone into making things go a little slower so we could grasp them, the read them part. Then thanks again, and we really miss you around here, and I appreciate you doing this.
Well, you're welcome. And a couple of things. I zoomed in on the webpage for Gemini to try and make it as big as possible. And I had to zoom out a little bit because some of the functions stopped working. So I made it as big as I could. Sorry about that. There's just not much more I can do about that. And then secondly, yeah, I know there was a lot of text. I couldn't give you guys enough time to read all of it. So I'll see about working with some of the somebody who's running the forums I can copy all this stuff out of Gemini and put it somewhere, and hopefully it'll be emailed to the group. If you're on the email for our group, and you'll be able to see everything and take your time reading stuff, because I think everything was generated right here as a live demo. As you saw, like some stuff didn't work. It was all live, so yeah, you'll be able to see what happened in depth.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to have to close up here, but we really appreciate your talk and
You mentioned it's going to be online, right?
yeah, and this will be online. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and I don't know who I talked to get all the info I can download it all out of Gemini. Just need to figure out how to post it and get it to the group.
Show